very easy to cheat nowadays because basically we have the internet, and the internet is your oyster for every single answer that there is.
Yeah, I do think it's quite easy to cheat because people can go out and it's quite easy to lie, and yeah, like technology and stuff like mobile phones, it's quite easy to send texts and like communication.
I can't cheat on my girlfriend because I know I love her. There's no point for me to cheat.
It's all very secretive as well, like passwords and everything, and like meeting up behind backs, like going out. You could say you're going to a cinema, but really like you could be going to a house or whatever, or doing anything.
I think it's really easy because like you can like people can lie so easily like these days, and like but like at the same time it's hard because like there are like some crazy people out there who like spy on you.
Is it easier? I don't know. I've never cheated, never had the thought of doing it, so I really don't know.
I've always say easy.
Why is it easy?
Facebook, you got Facebook, you got Tinder, you got other stuff. You go to the club, you go everywhere. It's crazy.
Yes. Come in.
Oh, thank you.
These are my chairs. I do my research there. And yeah, it's all private.
Yeah. So tell me, maybe how long does a session last?
It's a 50-minute session.
Okay.
So a therapist's hour is 50 minutes. You see, I'd question whether they are really searching love or whether they're searching a high. A lot of these apps will get immediate gratification. And I've worked with a number of people who have been hooked on the chase. When they connect into the app, there is this huge rush of adrenaline if they can be successful in pulling a person, in getting them to engage with them. When they know that they have been successful, there is a sense of achievement. It boosts your self-esteem. You start feeling good about yourself. You start feeling, so it's kind of like a little reward. And we can all get quite addicted to that reward. And it almost has the same effect as a drug.
My husband, who I had been with for about 17 years at that point, decided to get a vasectomy. And we had talked for several years about me wanting to have a baby and him not wanting to have one. He decided to get a vasectomy in a kind of a dramatic way. It was actually when I thought I was pregnant and then found out I wasn't. If my husband's prioritizing his own, path and soul above a family, I'm going to as well. And I just looked forward to my deathbed and said, I'm not going to go to my grave with no children and 4 lovers, total.
We actually came up with the idea before Tinder sort of hit the world, but we knew it was going mobile, so we knew it was happening that way. There were gay apps like Grindr happening, but what they did is they had guys on a map, obviously, but girls are not okay with that because of privacy, because of safety and security. So we then came up with that idea of a sort of like one-way glass, so the girls can see the boys on a map, but the boys can't see the girls, and that worked really well. And the guys liked that because what it meant is that the girls made the first move, and they found that a bit of relief, found it quite exciting, and the girls liked the control element and that sort of level of anonymity that you only reveal yourself when you want to.
Now this project of yours, this memoir, it sparked so much dialogue in many parts of the world. Did you ever think that it will reach this far?
Well, not really. It seemed to me when I wrote it as a very Western story, maybe a very American story, and possibly even a very San Franciscan story. And I really felt, even as it was happening, that I wasn't sure there were too many other places in the world this could have unfolded. Where people would have been understanding about it. But since I've written it, and now it's out there, and people are talking about it, I'm really surprised the response I'm getting from far-flung parts of the world. And people are writing to me and asking questions about it. Of course, there's, kind of knee-jerk disapproval for stepping outside of a convention. But there's a lot of people, for example, from the Middle East, from India, from the Philippines, what I consider very traditional places, writing and asking honest questions about it and seeming to be curious and interested in it. And I never expected that. You don't see the technology changing you as it's happening. It's so gradual. It's so incremental, right? But when I look back, I see that not just my marriage, but all my relationships were simpler before technology. And they were obviously more face-to-face. They were more, I think there was more attention when two people were together in a room, more attention on each other. No one was on their laptop or checking their email or doing their status update or taking a picture of their food that we were supposed to be eating together. And it's not that this was rampant in my marriage. I mean, this happened, the project happened around 2008. So Facebook had just started. Twitter, I believe, was just getting started. It wasn't yet the presence it is today. But it definitely, and just the internet itself, played a role in the project.
What we're finding is that people didn't meet tens or hundreds of people. They didn't trawl through, effectively like a catalogue of people. So when they did meet, talking about 10, 15 years ago, each person that they met, they may take a little bit longer to get to know each other. Technology is being developed far faster than our ability to manage that technology.
What are your thoughts to using technology to rejuvenate ailing relationships?
Ooh, I think you then playing with fire. You're playing with fire. It has to be seen in the same light as if one were to have an affair with somebody sitting in the same office, or your next door neighbor, or your, best friend's wife. I mean, just because it's arm's distance, just because it's online, it doesn't cause any less damage than a real live relationship, because we fantasize and we fill in the gaps. So we meet this person online, we see snatches of who they are. What we do is this wonderful thing called fill in the gaps, and we fill in the gaps using our idealized version of who they're going to be, and it can be very destabilizing of a relationship.
How easy do you think it is to cheat in the 21st century?
It's easier than it was, I think, because I think with online sites and mobile apps, you can present an image of yourself and you can choose what you decide to put out there. Yeah. And I would say that with our experience, we know that a lot of people choose not to say they're in a relationship, which obviously opens the door to
Yeah, and I'll put open marriage in the same bucket because whether we're talking about, you know, technically cheating and lying or just seeing someone else with your partner's approval or whatever, I think it's 10 times easier. You know, it's, first of all, so much of it is done on the internet. You can put an ad online. There are sites now for married people to find partners. And there's Tinder now, which I've never used Tinder or actually really seen it, but from what I understand, you can just see who's nearby you geographically in any moment if you're trying to have a hookup.
A whole lot of interactions as a result of social media, could meet many people on the cover, which is unfortunate, you know, just saying. Not that I have ever.
I agree with it to some extent, but in the same way that it's easy for you to cheat with social media, it's the same way that you can easily get caught as well because of the social media as well. So your partner could just do it like a little kind of a check on you, you know, and see who you've been on Facebook with, and see who you've been chatting with, and from there you can escalate to something else.
In this day and age, especially with a fast-paced city like London's 24 hours, you know, you don't know whether your partner's at work or could be with somebody else, and that, you know, that adds to the insecurities and stuff. So I think maybe it's easier now more than ever. But then again, adultery has always existed, you know, from early civilization.
Do you all cheat on your spouses or your partners?
I'm 100% faithful. I do not have a spouse. That said, I mean, people talk about, I need your password, then you're in the wrong relationship. There's no need to be in a relationship where you don't feel comfortable keeping your password to yourself.
Can't see it happening if I had to go out to bars every night. First of all, I wouldn't have done that. I had a very busy job. As a senior editor at a magazine, I was working more than 10 hours a day. I didn't want to spend my nights or my weekends in bars, you know, drunk, basically, with other drunk people. That wasn't what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for sex per se or a fast hookup. I was looking for mature, feminine sexual awakening, which actually has to happen with people who are semi-sober and semi-conscious and aware. And so the internet is the place where you can kind of lay out those parameters and vet people beforehand to find out, is this going to have a chance of delivering what I want? It would have been impossible without the internet.
Some people have genuinely missed their true love, but very few. The vast majority think they may have missed their true love. So will go back and want to revisit whether they possibly, you know, their paths have crossed, they feel like it's destiny, they feel like, this is the person that they should have been with. And it is hugely disrupting for the relationship. Every long-term relationship goes through various cycles of life. And there are certain transition periods which makes a relationship very vulnerable. If that ping comes into your inbox at the same time that you are transitioning, you are really in the eye of the storm.
Specifically for cheating, so like Ashley Madison and different things, what are your thoughts to those type of websites that are encouraging people to cheat on their spouses?
Honestly,
yeah.
As a sort of business owner, I would never go there, because I think having a startup and running a business takes so much effort, so much time, so much hard work. And I think to put that into something which fundamentally I think is a bad thing, personally I'd never go there. So, I'm pretty anti it, to be honest. Having said that, I'm not a prude and I'm quite open-minded. I think at that Girls in Tech talk there's a guy that was talking about Finder, which is about threesomes, and do you know what? Fair play. That's a niche, that's a choice. I think the thing about cheating is that there's a party that doesn't know what's going on, and it's deeply, deeply unfair. So any business that kind of promotes that or makes it easier, I'm kind of anti.
Should the person that you're with now not turn out to be exactly what you wanted them to be, in a sense, would you resort back to the virtual world for fulfillment and desire?
No.
And why is that?
Well, that's not. If I were single, would I do online dating, for example, on Match.com or whatever? I'm not saying I wouldn't do that. I would very possibly do that, if I were single. But should the relationship I'm in encounter difficulties, will I start texting exes to flirt with them and set something up and sneak away? No. Just maybe it's my age. Maybe it's that I went through a year and a half of being married while finding lots of lovers and running from situation to situation on kind of a chemical high, which I've written about in the book. I feel like you can only live that way. I could only live that way temporarily. Personally, it's not the way I want to live on an ongoing basis.
It's a good question, and it's something that I would have to think about more deeply. And thinking about it, I think that each relationship has a unique way of managing their boundaries. And I would have to work with that particular couple, and they would have to negotiate between them as to what feels comfortable for them.
Would you say that this thing it's a dangerous tool, or would you say it's something that has sparked a movement that can actually be taken as far as the eye can see?
Yeah, I think it is the way forward. I think that's how people are living and working and meeting now. So I don't think it's something we can stop. I think with Anne today, we're really keen on the fact that we're trying to get people meeting in the real world as quickly as possible. So messages are only saved for 24 hours because we want to cut down the long-winded chat. The guys are on a map, so it's all about the real world and where you'd actually meet someone. I think that's when it gets exciting. I think if you're totally living in the virtual world, you can't replace face-to-face contact and real-world relationships. And I think that's when things get a little bit, I wouldn't say dangerous, but I'd say unfulfilling and sort of shallow. But I think, yeah, the perfect combo is using tech to meet people in the real world. I think that's what would work.